Greetings, geeks and nerds. I'm Lady Universe and White and Nerdy, and 2025 seems to be the year of Superman, as a lot of people are mostly excited for the Superman movie, and as am I. And when it comes July, I'm gonna have a few Superman videos to be putting out. But there is one Superman movie that I really wanted to wait to talk about, but the more I think about it, the more I think that it'd be a good opportunity to review this now instead of waiting until later. And in all honesty, there's a good reason why. It's because I actually own the comic that this movie is based off of, and yeah, I just think that it's amazing how much that they did a good job at a comic adaptation. Now, of course, it is called a Justice League Triple Future, but it's all three movies of one Justice League member. If this was like three Justice League movies, like Justice League New Frontier, Justice League Doom, and Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, then you could be like, yes, it is a, you know, Justice League 3 for. But it's a Superman 3 for. So I'm, of course, going to be talking about not all three of these films, maybe like one at a time, but I'm, of course, going to be talking about a movie that really did impress me on there, and I finally gotten the chance to see it. I'm, of course, going to be talking about Superman vs. the Elite. This will be my review retrospective upon Superman vs. the Elite, so if nobody has read the comic or nobody had seen this movie yet, just be forewarned that there will be some spoilers. So if nobody has seen Superman vs. the Elite or nobody has read the comic book yet, just be forewarned that yet again that there will be spoilers in this review, so you have been warned for the last time, spoilers. Superman vs. the Elite is based off of a comic book at the time, Superman number 775. What's so funny about Truth, Justice, in an American Way? Which asks the question, what if Superman ever did decide to kill his enemies? What if he just said screw it the next time that Lex Luthor build basically a bomb to try to kill the Man of Tomorrow? What if Mongo just came and decided to invade Metropolis and he just decided to let Mongo invade Metropolis? Basically, what if Superman just gave up? That's the interesting question, and nobody would ever think of Superman, the big blue Boy Scout, to just give up. But Superman versus the Elite, or Superman number 775, asks that brilliant question, which is what the topic is of today. What if the Man of Tomorrow just said, I don't want to fight crime anymore. I've given up. You know, what's the point of putting like Brainiac back into space or Bizarro back in Bizarro world, or putting my enemies back in jail? Nah, screw it. I'm just gonna go on a killing spree. And that is a terrifying thought if Superman ever decided to just cut loose. And with that terrifying thought comes a very terrifying concept in both comic book and movie adaptation. I do not own the comic book anymore. I got it as a Christmas gift by an ex-girlfriend years ago. But I did remember reading it after Christmas and thinking, this is an awesome idea and it is an awesome concept. And little did I know that at the time that I was reading that Superman vs. the Elite would was actually a thing long before I actually read the 775 thing, but never got my chance to get around to see it. That is until right now. So, what would ever happen if the Man of Tomorrow ever decided to just say screw it and go on a killing spree? Let's find out together. And we're gonna dive to the Fortress of Solitude and see if Manchester Black can convince us that violence is the answer. This is my review of Superman vs. the Elite. I love that when this opens, it kind of confuses everybody until it gets to the point that Clark is basically doing the best he can at being Superman and also his alter ego, Clark Kent. That is until the atomic brain, or atomic skull, shows himself up, and yes, he kind of made damage with Superman as Superman tried to hold him off without destroying Metropolis. But eventually, the people of Metropolis asked Superman, well, what's the point of you fighting for us if you're just going to cause a lot of collateral damage? Are you really doing a good job or putting us in harm's way? And this is when Superman meets the Elite, and when the Elite kind of come into play for the Man of Tomorrow, as they try to convince him that violence is a very good answer to everything. Think of the Elite very similar to almost the Runaways. They're a group of teenage superheroes, except whereas the Runaways are trying to basically save the world from their parents' evil and diabolical plot, the elite are led by a madman who killed his father when he first discovered, hey, I'm a metahuman. They kind of give the elite a little bit of the X-Men backstory, and I'm not complaining because that's a pretty awesome concept and it's a pretty awesome idea. Yet, however, there is just something that we have to address here. It's that something that both the comic book and the adaptation actually do quite well. The elite can take on Superman, as is shown throughout the film that the elite can almost conquer over Superman because, well, if they work together, they are more powerful than the Man of Tomorrow, which is already a terrifying concept. But yet the elite try to tell the people of Metropolis, like, hey, listen, why don't we just step in for the Man of Tomorrow? I mean, come and think about it. You have Superman, Batman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, etc., etc. They don't do their job. They just throw the person right back into prison and they keep escaping. So why don't you let us do this? Let us carry the weight on our shoulder. Let us do what we want. Let us kill people. And suddenly Superman begins to realize that once they convince Metropolis, he suddenly loses his true strength. Because keep in mind, Superman, yes, he gets his strength from the sun, but there's something even more that powers the big guy, something beyond human understanding, and that is that the fact that he carries the heart of the people on his shoulders, and once he loses that, he starts to become a little bit weak. When the elite tells Metropolis, we can do everything for you, we have the answers, just kill them off. What's the point of having villains anymore? Which is an idea that terrifies Clark. He decides, what if they're right? What if killing is the answer? What if violence becomes the norm?
Believe? Some days, yeah. I checked in with some friends at the London Mirror while you were making.
Which causes Superman to go back and forth thinking, is the elite right? And I've been wrong for years? It's a very good plot of storytelling. George Newbern voices Superman in this, and I gotta say, I do love George Newbern from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. He just does a great job and he understands Superman, as he's one of my top 5 favorite Superman voice actors next to Tim Daly and Jack Quaid. He just really understands the character and he does a great job at the aesthetic, as he really shows his vocal tones between both Superman and Clark, going back and forth constantly in this film, going, are they right? Is the elite right? Is violence the answer? Is that what the people want? And then he also begins to get sad. There was a moment in this film when he's talking to Lois, going, "I was flying overhead, and a kid said that when he grows up, he wants to be part of the elite because he said it's fun to kill." And he had to repeat himself almost like he couldn't believe that he just uttered that complete sentence. And it's amazing. Like, I've watched this film a couple times already, and every time I reach that line, I keep thinking, yeah, he can't bring himself to say it. He can't just admit, like, fun to kill. He can't say that because it's Superman, for Christ's sake. This is a man that just is looked up to by millions. And there's even a moment in this film where kids are playing Superman versus the Elite, and the kid is dressed up as Superman, and he goes to his friends and he says, "I don't want to be Superman because that means that you guys can kill me, and that's nothing. Man, Superman's a complete whack." I'm like, oh. And the look on his face is like almost a little bit disappointed, and it's like, oh my god. Oh, that hurts, man. That that hurts. I can fully see why he's like, just like the Patrick Mahomes meme face right now, just like, oh, Clark. But it brings up the more human side of Superman. A side that most people forget does exist. And this film does a great job of capitalizing that Superman is yes Kryptonian, but deep down inside he is human, and which he has to keep constantly fighting himself. That basically it is almost a little bit like Superman 4, or not Superman 4, Superman 3, where he battles himself literally. Here, he keeps going back and forth, going, killing could be, the easy way out, and then the other side going, but we have to keep up the good heart of the people because we stand up for all Metropolis. So it's a constant battle between violence or peace, justice in the American way. As yeah, if superheroes really wanted to, they could just say fuck it and kill people, and nobody would stop them because by that point, the fear would take over. As it finally happens in the film when Metropolis tells Superman, screw it, kill. What's the worst that could happen? Just straight up start killing. As this begins to turn people against Superman, his own people against him, choosing the elite over Superman, and yet he finally decides to say fuck it. So Supes finally decides to challenge the elite, a battle for all. But he decides not to do it on Metropolis because he doesn't want to risk the people getting hurt. As yeah, it is a good fight, but Superman gets his ass kicked. As I pointed out, the elite can easily dispatch Superman, so they quickly beat the crap out of him. And it certainly seems that Superman has lost. That the Man of Tomorrow had lost to the elite. But that's what he wants you to think.
Forming this shroud before we hang it up. I, for one, should like to scrub my...
I finally get it. Thank you. No friggin' way.
As yes, we finally get to see Superman go beast mode. And it's just as terrifying to say as it is terrifying to see. As Superman begins to kill, he finally snaps and he finally realizes, yeah, fuck yeah, this is fun. As he starts terrifying everybody, including Manchester, who you swear to God could take him on, but yet Superman just keeps putting the fear right into Manchester. And right when he has him, right where he wants him, he still can't do it. Superman still couldn't bring himself to say, yeah, killing is the answer.
Yes, they did see. They saw the ugliness of violence as a solution, and it frightened them. It frightened me too when I decided to cross that line.
And this is one of the reasons why I love Superman, and especially with the story itself, that, yeah, he did it just so he could prove a point. They see the violence, they see the ugliness, and look at them. They're all in terror of me. I made them scared of me. Me, a symbol of peace for like 50 years. I've terrified these people, and for what? Just to prove a point? Just to see what the fun side of killing is? No. I've tried it your way, and look what happened. Nothing good comes out of this. And I'm like, that is Superman. That is my Superman, the one that I can look up to. As it was brilliant to hear him say that and prove a point like, yep, yeah. He just decided to play a little bit of head game, like almost reverse psychology, and I'm like, Batman is so proud right now. He probably sitting in the Batcave going, just at his friend for basically doing reverse psychology. And usually that's more Batman's mainstream thing, but he probably still is pretty proud of his friend by this point. And it's like, I do absolutely love that line where he just is like, yeah, I tried it your way. We put fear in the heart of people, and they're terrified of me, of both of us. And you know something? And I love it when he gets so close to punch him and he stops, like the wind just hit. Just hits Manchester right in the face, and he's like, but I can't do it. And then he proves that, or shows that, it was all a stage. And the comic book, he just like knocked out Cold Cast, he knocked out the Hat, and he created a serum that would cure Pamela, or I forget her name, Menjure, he cured her of a parasite, and yes, he lobotomizes Manchester. That's something that's still present here in the comic. He basically takes away his telepathy and telekinesis. But I kind of do like that he used the superbots, as that's a little bit like more believable, because as much as I love Superman, it's like, do you really think the guy can just do all this by himself? It's like he needs some help. So I do like that he used both Lois and the Superbots, and used them to a good point and to aesthetic. And I just have to say that this is a great adaptation. Yes, it's only a one comic adaptation. I mean, if you buy Superman number 775, that comic itself is like 30, 40 pages long, so it's pretty thick, truthfully. And even when, I got it as a Christmas gift, I'm like, holy crap, this is just one issue? I mean, this thing is like pretty much like that when I read it, but I did read it back to back like 10 times when I had it. Yeah, it was a good story arc. And this is a great adaptation of that story. So if you have the chance, I'm telling you this right now, please do go and check out Superman vs. the Elite or read Superman number 775 because this was awesome. Superman vs. the Elite is greatly animated. It really captures the comic book style that was done, during that issue. At first, I thought it was weird, but then it grew up. But then it grew on me, and I absolutely do love it. And George Newbern is very great in the role, as he really proves that yes, he still can voice Superman even years later after you know Justice League and Justice League Unlimited were done with. I believe he also voiced Superman in the Justice League Doom movie, or that was Tim Daly. I forget, truthfully. But do I recommend Superman vs. the Elite? Absolutely. Whether you can get it here in a triple collection, or if you can get it single, it's still great. Which, fun fact, when I went to a store that was having a closeout sale, and I got this for relatively cheap, I found this as a DVD, and as a Blu-ray, I found Superman vs. the Elite. Strange coincidence, or just weird by accident? You make the call. But Superman vs. the Elite is a great movie. It tells the story great because the story was written by the same person that wrote Superman number 775, so of course it was handled with care. And it was greatly directed and amazingly voice acted and amazingly and beautifully animated. So Superman vs. the Elite, I have to do it because it basically is great of a representation of just how amazing that Superman is. So my Funko Pop rating of Superman vs. the Elite is going to be a Superman because it just is true to the character. So my Funko Pop rating is a Superman. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload. I've been waiting for I want you to keep eating on. And if you want somebody to actually that actually does a good review of Superman number 775, I recommend Linkara of Atop the Fourth Wall fame or Louis Lobhug, as he does a great job of reviewing the story himself. So go and look up Atop the Fourth Wall, Superman number 775, as he does a brilliant job of reviewing that story. And despite his snarky criticism, he actually said that he did enjoy the story. And I certainly enjoyed the movie based off the story, as I have actually read it, as it was just amazing. So, if you've seen Superman vs. the Elite, or if you read Superman number 775 yourself, let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And also, if you want to help the channel and support it grow, the best way to do so is by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And you can join me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I believe in your voice. I believe in you to keep eating on. And until next time, guys, and as always, take care.